Hello and welcome back. Enter the Gungeon. Enter the new era. The new me. New me, new you. I don't know. I don't know if it's the new you. I mean, it's been a while since we've recorded Gungeon. I think the last like 10 episodes of Gungeon, I have said that same exact line. But we are now playing on the Nintendo Switch. And this guy right here. This guy's the new thing we're gonna try out. Try to give Enter the Gungeon a new life in the next new episode, the next upcoming episodes. I mean, I plan on doing this for a while. We'll see how long that while lasts. But if you could show me a rogue-like game that has motion control, like actually supports motion, like something weird like this, because I mean. Honestly, we're gonna have a conversation about motion control. You know, these runs are like 45 minutes long, so I'm gonna take my time with this conversation. I pulled up a Kotaku article basically saying in 2014 that motion controls have flopped and they're gone and nobody wants them. You know, and it makes sense, you know, removed from the Wii days. I mean, let's see. The Wii was popular. Oof. Taking the first bit of damage there. It's kind of dumb. But we kind of cornered ourselves too. But yeah, the Wii was popular around 2007, I want to say. You know, right around the Call of Duty era as well. You know, the hardcore, the quote-unquote hardcore fan base of video games enjoyed their Halos and their Call of Duties, while the casuals, you know, grandma and grandpa at home, playing with little Susie on the Wii, you know, steering wheel on the Mario Kart. All of that nonsense, you know what I'm saying? You know, and let's talk about that for a second, actually. Because I was just thinking, of all things, why do people equate motion control with a steering wheel? I mean, it kind of makes sense with, like, the motion that your hand does. But, like, in my opinion, like, a steering wheel, at least if you've got a good one, like a nice car. Or, you know what? Not even a nice car, like an appropriate car, because no, this isn't meant to be braggadocious, but it sounds like it. I've driven an Audi before, and it feels like Mario Kart. Like, when you turn the wheel, it has like a ridiculously powerful power steering that you don't feel the wheels turning whatsoever. I hate that. You know, I don't think I'm gonna ever purchase a car that that feels like that. If it's going to be my primary vehicle. I took out my wife's Forester today because the baby was crying. We needed to take her out for a drive. I took her to Taco Bell and she was knocked out. She was knocked out after her 4th gordita. You know what I'm saying? I did not feed her a gordita, no. For some reason, like, as soon as I pulled up, she was gone. But, like, it took her 2 hours to get there from her bedtime. But, you know, we're getting a little sidetracked here. So, yeah. I think that the steering wheel should honestly be, like, one of the most tactile things. You know, if I ever got into racing games or, like, driving sims, I would need that steering wheel. The Logitech G64 driver, you know what I'm saying? Like, I've already got the chair for it. I keep mentioning this DX Racer knockoff that I got for my parents. It's, I say knockoff, but like, it's fine. It's a Respawn. Like, it does the job, man. I used to make fun of it, but like, it's actually pretty nice. Like, it's a lot better than the crappy chair, like $30 chair, office chair that I used to have. That I was essentially handed, it was like a hand-me-down from an office job that I had, and they were just like, we're getting rid of these chairs, you want to take it home? And I was like, yeah. So about this article about motion controls being dead in 2014, I feel like it's kind of an early, that was the beginning of this current generation of consoles. And I feel like it was such a bad move, you know, especially with like in regards to shooters. And now this is where the discussion, you know, essentially begins with with my personal taste. You know, in case you're wondering about that, I don't know. You're probably like not too concerned, but after playing Warframe, and granted, Warframe is not really all about aim. It's really just spam your guns. It's more of like a character action hero, like Devil May Cry, per se, is probably a good comparison. Oh man, we're out of bullets. Gungeon talk. What is this? I know. So basically, they did not give motion controls, gyro aiming, a fair shake this generation, I don't think. And maybe it's for the best, you know, maybe they're saving it for a rainy day. But if, yo, this looks like a secret room. It's not. Oh, that hurts. Okay. But yeah, so basically after playing some Warframe and using the sniper rifle to hit the boss fights, critical points, you know, things like that, like, it just made me kind of thirst for it in specific games. Now, you might be saying, you own a Switch, why aren't you playing Splatoon? Splatoon is the exact example why that Kotaku article was written about motion controls dying. Because it's... excuse the rant, but it's just implemented in the most asinine way, where they think they're being clever, but then they're like, it's a Nintendo thing, you know? It's just like how they handle everything that's online, everything that is for public, like a live service, you know? Just like they handled Super Smash Brothers wrong every single time. You know, they had to make something awkward, which some of you guys might already know this. But when you turn on motion controls on Splatoon, you lose the Y-axis. You lose the Y-axis. You kidding me? Like, what's the point of precision aiming if you can't aim initially? Like, you don't have the controls to initially aim like perfectly. And then also when you talk about a game like Splatoon, it's for kids. Apparently kids games don't have headshots. I don't, you know, you can take that up with with the ESRB ratings. Getting headshots on Squid Kids, you know, was looked down upon apparently. Let me take a sip of some beverage here from the Taco Bell. This is not a sponsored video, I promise. But yeah, so the motion aiming, I feel like, is gonna make a return in the next generation, and it might be just, it honestly might just be hopeful. One of those things that I'm like hoping to make a return, and I'm like investing my skills and my patience into something important here. But I feel like it's got to be the next move, because it's the only thing left for controllers to be anywhere near as precise as a mouse and keyboard. And you can make the argument, you know, why don't you just use a mouse? I'm like, first of all, I work an office job. I'm using a keyboard all day. I'm using a mouse all day. I don't want to go home and use the same peripherals. You know, when you use a controller, it feels like you are handling a toy, which is it might have that term might have negativity tied to it, a toy, but newsflash, this is it's a video games or toys. it's a toy that that adults can also play with. Well, technically you can play with GI Joes still. You know, lots of adults play with GI Joes, usually collecting them. But that's not the point of this. What is the point of this? Where am I? Where was I going with this? Oh well, we hit the boss fight. This is the important part. We're speedrunning gyroscope controls on the Switch. Some of you guys might not even notice that that I'm using motion controls. I mean, you could tell by the erratic movement of my cursor, and also that, oh man. Honestly, I was describing it on the stream today. It was a very short stream. I just did one run, and I was like, you know what? Let's start a series on this because this is actually extremely fun. With aiming tied to the motion controls and not having to use a right stick, all of my focus goes to two things: pushing the right bumper to shoot, and moving with the left stick as precise as I can to dodge the bullets. So it's actually like a step further. So whenever I play on mouse and keyboard on Enter the Gungeon, I felt like I had to focus on like 7 things at once. I definitely played a lot better on a controller, and you could say, you know, that's because of aim assist, yada yada, whatever. You know, it just depends on which platform you have more fun with, you know. I'm fine with the aim assist if I don't, you know, have to prove my aim to you. Yo, this is fun. That's a fun little sound. But yeah, so essentially I can focus on dodging to the best of my abilities and not really have to focus on much anything else, like dodging and shooting and then maybe blanking if necessary, and that's just a left click, so my thumb's already there, you know. I mean, I have not had a situation where I needed to use my item that much, my bottom left item, my space bar, if you're an Isaac player. I've not I haven't done these that much, these talking podcast style roguelike things in a while, so I'm a little bit rusty. This is gonna take me a couple attempts to get, you know, a little bit smoother. Hope you're enjoying the episode still and haven't turned it off. I mean, honestly, like, my whole bet on these is that my discussion and my conversation is enough to maybe like lull you to sleep and then you just leave the video on and then play through the rest of my videos. Leave that, you know, click that auto play, you know what I'm saying? I probably shouldn't be saying this on the first episode of the gun even said what I'm saying is whack. But I'm glad that these are gonna be back, and with a little bit of a twist. If you're still listening at this point, I want your suggestions on games with like motion controls that you want to see on the channel, on the streams. I think Enter the Gungeon's gonna be a solid one to go through to on the streams if I'm doing solo. I'm thinking of hitting Overwatch pretty hard when it comes to the Switch, obviously, because it also has motion aiming. Wow, you're really addicted to this this gyroscope thing, right? It's, first of all, I personally don't think it's a gimmick, So I kind of essentially want to promote it, even though I don't think I'm in the position to do so. Basically, is what I'm saying. Like I don't have the platform to say, like, you know, this is better, but personal preferences says that it is. Essentially. All right, let's go down here. But basically, my promise on this first episode is that I'm gonna keep going on this until you show me another roguelike that has motion controls, and then we'll test that out, see if it can take this position. Essentially, I want to get as good or better at this Gungeon as I am with the controller, and I feel like I'm almost there already. Like I said before, I feel like my aiming has gotten better, or my dodging has gotten better because I don't have to focus as hard on the aiming portion. Now, obviously, positioning is still extremely important. I need to get a little bit better at that. But if we can get up to like cursed runs using motion controls, dude, Bob's your uncle. Bow, bow. Good, good. Bob's your uncle. That's such a boomer thing to say. Nah, don't mind me. All right, we got the commando. Okay, all right, that's a good boss weapon for us. You may also be saying, you're playing as the gunslinger. This doesn't count. Practice runs, bro. This is essentially just running my sets. You know, doing my reps. Basically training my brain on the basics. The basics of basics of Enter the Gungeon, but in a new form factor. If you're wondering what my setup looks like, I'm just using a neon orange Joy-Con, the right Joy-Con. So the stick is in the middle. You can tell it's a little bit different. The left stick and the right, or the left Joy-Con and the right Joy-Con. And I do have the bumpers attached. I think that's basically a necessity. You know, I'm not sure how many of you guys are gonna attempt to do this yourself. This might be one of those that, like, you know, don't try this at home kind of things. But maybe you can tell me in the comments if you're like, all right, yeah, I could see that. I could see where you're going with this. Like, it's not really that bad. A lot of you guys are probably gonna say this is not my preferred way of playing this game. And I'm gonna 100% like basically currently agree with you, but I want to eventually disagree with you, because again, like I'm like I was saying before, like motion aiming opens up a different way to play. And so, like I said before, it's focusing on the dodging, because the aiming is basically done for you. Like, once you put your hand in the correct rotation, the correct positioning, you're good to go. Focus on the dodges, focus on your positioning. It's that easy. No, it's I don't want to play it down. I don't want to patronize. But honestly, like, it's good. Hopefully I could show you guys on Overwatch whenever that comes out as well. I'm hoping, and I don't really have my doubts that it's gonna be quality, because Diablo came out and it's still one of my favorite games on the Switch. It's probably in my top like 5 most played games on the Switch. It's kind of not fair though, because Diablo essentially asks for 100 hours of your time when you boot it up. They're like, you know what? We don't care about your schedule for the next month. You just bought this game, so you obviously don't care about your schedule for the next month. Is this thing avoiding us? Okay. The scrambler is awesome, by the way. This thing is tearing stuff up. Okay, that's what I was hoping I would find. We needed some ammo for that scrambler. And yeah, we're not searching every single room. We're not min-maxing. We're not there yet, okay? Commentarily, we're not there yet. We're not ready for an hour-long episode every time, you know. And skill-wise, we're not ready. Oh my goodness, we're starting with the High Priest on level 4. This is the absolute worst boss fight of level 4. I don't think I've gotten a single... that sounds strong, but like, it's my hardest one to flawless for sure. Even with the quote-unquote easier to dodge. Yo, I dodged through 2 things there. Let me put on the commando real quick. Especially here. What are you supposed to do here? Bullets are coming from every single direction. Cool. He's done it. He's done it. With 4 hearts left to spare. We did not get the chamber, the master round, but perfectly fine with me. Let's get out of here. Oh, we probably should have picked up our extra hearts, but I'm not counting on needing them. Hopefully, hopefully I didn't make a bad decision there, and we actually end up dying in the last hit of the Dragon. But you know, I'm placing my bets on myself here, which you gotta do. You gotta do from time to time. You gotta believe in yourself. You gotta believe in a direction. You gotta know what you want in life and just grab it by the horns and take off the horn and then stab whoever you took the horn off of. I don't know where I'm going with this. It got really violent, so I apologize for that. Speaking of like horns and monsters and stuff, like Dead by Daylight on the Switch, I was kind of like making a joke about it to my friend Will Dez, which you can check out his channel. He's in the featured channels on my page. He's a Dead by Daylight player, and he's like making his community off of that and stuff. Dead by Daylight on the Switch, the graphics are exactly the same. And I'm gonna lose a couple of you here. The frame rate's not, and you might say that the graphics and frame rate are synonymous. I highly disagree with you. You know, graphical performance maybe, but then you add that word, it's a performance issue essentially. There's enhancements for. I probably shouldn't have went there. If you if you put them side by side, like a screenshot of the Switch version versus a screenshot of the PC version, basically what I'm saying is Dead by Daylight's freaking ugly, dude. But I will say, after playing like a round or two, I get it. I get it, man. There's an addictive nature to it. You know, it's competitive. It's cooperative if you're playing on the survivor side. You know, if you're the hunter, you've got a lot of things to pay attention to. But also when you're in that chase or you're running for your life, I could see how sports fans like it. It feels like a football game at that point. Like if football was like that nuanced with the dodging, like honestly, like when you're in the running mode in football, it should zoom in where your interactions with like a defender trying to tackle you It's like fine-tuned, like a fighting game. Like that's kind of how it feels like, and I respect it. I respect it. That's there's something there for sure. And I guess you don't need me to agree with that. You know, the thousands and thousands, probably tens of thousands of players they have monthly. And also all of the communities I've seen that just grow out of that game. There's obviously a want for content from that. Definitely more than, you know, motion controls. Who is this guy? He thinks he's the master of twisting his wrist around. Let's leave that alone. I'm not gonna touch that with a 10-foot pole. Yo, it's the Dragon. 26 minutes in. Who said that that this guy was probably gonna die? Somebody out there had some doubts, right? But I wouldn't have started this series. I wouldn't have started recording this if it wasn't for knowing I could make it here. By the way, if you're wondering why the Switch version of Gungeon looks so awful, I am playing on speed mode. I'll put that in the description just so everybody knows. Look at the dodging skills though. It's unparalleled. And I'm not trying to brag about myself here. This is not something that I can do like normally. You can ask the chat. You can ask my community. They're like, no, he would have gotten hit by now for sure, 100%. But the fact that I can focus on the dodging while aiming, I sound like a broken record, but it's so nice. All right, it doesn't really quite apply to this part of the fight. So don't get it twisted. Okay, all right, one more. We can blank if we get nervous. Nervous? No! Okay, well there goes our flawless, but it's perfectly fine. We're not really here to flawless bosses. We're here to beat the game. Here we go. That's what I'm talking about, man. Gotta love it. Gotta love it. Thank you so much for being here. This is the start of a wonderful new series. It's not really new, but I am starting it as an episode 1. This is Gyro controls with Gyro Monk. This is legit. It's a brand new thing for me. Hopefully it's a nice fresh way to watch and enjoy Enter the Gungeon for you as well. For me personally, it adds, like, you know, that extra zing that I was missing from Enter the Gungeon for a little bit there. This part right here is actually probably the toughest part of the whole game. Come on. If I can just narrow this down. There we go. I'm not even joking with you. It's the absolute toughest part of the run. Alright. Well, yeah. Thank you for watching. We're gonna keep doing these regular Dragon runs until I feel comfortable enough, until I'm flawlessing most of the bosses, and then we'll try to tackle, you know, adding the rat in there, oubliette, etc., etc. Hopefully you enjoyed the jibber jabber from me, and yeah, I'll see you on the next coming episodes. Make sure to like if you like the video, hit that sub button if you want to watch future episodes. Otherwise, I'll catch you on the next one. Peace.